Hi guys, and welcome back to Yoga from a PT's Perspective. Today we're going to be talking about central or core stability. I'm going to run you through a flow of all the exercises that we bring our patients through in at the clinic. But you can also read about the core above and all the things that go along with it. So following here, finding your way onto your back. The feet and the knees are going to be hips distance apart, knees pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Just settling down onto the mat for a moment. We'll begin with diaphragmatic breathing. The diaphragm is a key component to core stability, so activating this muscle first is very important to then activating the pelvic floor and the transverse abdominis. The hands can either rest both on the ribs, or maybe you place one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. The chest is going to be quiet and the belly will rise up towards the ceiling. The ribs will spread to either side of the room and down towards the floor. Inhaling through your nose or mouth, whatever is most comfortable for you today. Once you've taken 5 or so breaths activating that diaphragm, we'll move into finding neutral spine by starting with pelvic tilts. So letting the hands either rest down by the sides, or you might place them on your hips if that's easier for you. As you inhale, you're going to arch the spine, so it's as if somebody's pulling you up from your belly button. The bum and the shoulders stay on the ground. This is known as anterior pelvic tilt. And then as you exhale, you'll push the back in towards the mat, tuck the tailbone under for the posterior pelvic tilt. Moving through these two extremes, anterior and posterior, 5 or so times. If one of the extremes hurts, just don't go as far. Go to your pain tolerance. And once you've done 5 or so pelvic tilts, we'll begin to find neutral spine. And neutral spine is that somewhere in between the posterior and the anterior pelvic tilt. You should be able to fit a finger length underneath or between your spine and the mat, but you wouldn't be able to slide your whole hand underneath. Once you have that neutral spine, placing both fingers pointing at the hip bones that point straight up towards the ceiling, and then walking them inwards towards the belly button just slightly. This fleshy part is where the transverse abdominis is located. As you inhale, squeezing the abdominal muscles, so bracing the core, and the belly button shouldn't draw in toward your stomach, but rather expand out like a canister, like you're filling a canister. Then taking your hands, the web space of the hands, and placing it on the fleshy part between the hip bone and the rib bones. The fingers can still palpate the transverse abdominis, and the thumb will be palpating the lumbar spine or near the lumbar spine. Again, on an inhale with neutral spine, brace and engage, and you should feel your hands kind of spread away from you as that internal and external oblique turn on, as well as the transverse abdominis. Taking a few breaths here, maintaining that brace or engage. Relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your neck. The diaphragmatic breathing becomes a little bit smaller through the low ribs now. And it could take a few weeks to figure out this neutral spine and brace and engage, so don't get frustrated the first few times you do it. If you feel you've mastered this, then you can move on with me. As you brace and engage, we're going to move into marching. So relaxing the shoulders, maybe the hands come by the sides, palms can be up or down. Maintaining neutral spine, maintaining the engagement, draw the right knee in. Knee will come right over the hip, shin will be parallel to the floor, toes towards the face. Slowly lowering, left knee draws in. Slowly lower, right knee in. Continuing to breathe, continuing to maintain neutral spine, left knee in. And lower, right knee in. And lower. Last time, left knee in. And lower. If this is the first time you're doing this, you will stick with the marching, the exercise that we just did. But if you've done this a few times or you're ready to move forward, then you can follow me. If you begin to lose your neutral spine, so if you begin to arch or maybe you push your back into the mat, then go to the previous option that I offered. Bracing and engaging, you might check again, am I keeping that neutral spine? And then drawing the right knee in, and the left leg will follow. Right leg will lower, left leg will follow. Left knee in, right leg follows, left leg lowers, right leg follows. Right knee in, left leg follows, right leg lowers, left leg follows. Last time, left leg in, right leg follows, left leg lowers, right leg follows. Again, if you'd like to move through the progression following me, if not, stick with one of the options that lets you maintain neutral spine and maintain your engagement. Right knee will draw in, left leg will follow. This is the starting position for heel taps. Right heel taps down, exhale draws it back in. Inhale, left heel taps. Exhale to center. Inhale, right heel. Exhale, center. Inhale, left heel. Exhale, center. Two more. Inhale, right heel. Exhale, center. Inhale, left heel. Exhale, center. Last time, right heel. Exhale, left heel. Exhale. Keeping yourself here. You might continue with heel taps or you might follow me forward, reaching the hands straight up towards the ceiling. Inhale, right heel will tap, left arm lifts up overhead. Exhale to center. Inhale, left heel taps, right hand lifts up. Exhale, center. Inhale, right hand, left arm. Exhale. Inhale, left heel, right arm. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then slowly lowering down. You might draw one knee in towards your chest. Or maybe you draw both legs in if that feels good. Maybe rocking from side to side. If you drew one knee in, draw the other knee in. And then slowly releasing down to the mat. Bridging. Feet will be hips distance apart, knees up towards the ceiling. Shoulders relax down, neck relaxes. Deep inhale. Exhale, lifts. Checking, are you bracing your core, your transverse abdominis, internal and external obliques, and are you turning on your glutes and your core equally, or your glutes and your abdominal muscles equally? And slowly lower down. Inhale, exhale, lifts. Slowly lower. Inhale, exhale, lifts. Slowly lower. Now you can stay with the bridge that we were just performing, or if you feel like you'd like to move further, straightening the right leg, keeping the quad turned on as tight as you can, so leg as straight as you can, toes towards the face. Inhale lifts you, making sure hips stay level and even so you're not dropping down. And then exhale, lower. Inhale, lifts. Exhale, lower. Inhale. Exhale. Right knee bends, left leg extends if you did one side. If you're sticking with two, still follow the cues. Inhale, lifts. Exhale, lower. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, inhale. Exhale. And then slowly lowering the feet down. Rolling onto your side. And then coming onto your hands and knees. Wrists will be right underneath the shoulders, knees right underneath the hips. And again, we're going to find neutral spine here. So you might first do a few cat and cows if that feels good for you, where that thoracic spine is kind of opening up. Inhale, belly drops. Exhale, arches. And then finding your way back to center. To do the pelvic tilts here, inhale, just the belly drops, so the thoracic spine, the chest aren't moving at all. And then exhale, tailbone tucks under. So anterior pelvic tilt and posterior pelvic tilt. Moving through these two extremes again to help you find that somewhere in between, that nice neutral spine. And once you think you've found it, spread the fingers wide, ground the knuckles into the floor, maintain that nice neutral spine, and then brace and engage. You might stay here and work with this, or you might move forward with me without shifting, without arching, or without rotating. Reach the left leg back. Keep the toe down on the mat at first, making sure the hip isn't dropping. You're keeping it level and even with the opposite hip. And then slowly drawing it back in. And we'll move to the other side, reaching the right leg back. Continuing to breathe, checking in with neutral spine. And then slowly lowering back down to the mat. You might stick with this option or move forward with me here, reaching the left leg back. And then possibly lifting the leg off of the mat. Slowly lowering down, reaching the right leg back, lifting the right leg. And slowly lowering down, moving forward, engaging, reaching the left leg back, lifting the left leg, and possibly reaching the right arm forward. Slowly lowering down, reaching the right leg back, lifting the right leg, and possibly reaching the left arm forward. Slowly lowering down. Shifting for a moment and taking a breath, moving into mega plank. I like to use a block for mega plank. So what I do is taking the block right in between your hands like this so that the thumb is creating an L shape here. And then coming down onto the mat, you'll set the elbows so they line up with the middle finger. From here, stepping one foot back and stepping the other foot back. You might be starting on your knees, making sure the tailbone stays tucked under, engaging the core. Shoulders are right over those elbows. Pressing the palms into the mat and pushing your chest away from the floor, or the option to curl the toes under and hold in plank. Continue to breathe. And then slowly lowering down to the mat. And we'll come into side plank here. So in side plank, you have a few options. Elbow can be underneath the shoulder. You might walk it in just a little bit because when you lift your hips, the space is going to be a little bit bigger. If you're first starting today, you might start with the knees bent and lift the hips up so the knees are stacked on top. You might reach both feet out straight and have one foot in front of the other. Or you might stack the feet on top, holding and breathing. The top hand could lift, or maybe it stays on your hip. And slowly lowering down, we'll find our way to the other side. So again, elbow right underneath the shoulder, knees can be bent, feet can be straight, one foot in front of the other, or feet stacked on top of one another. Lifting up and holding, hand to the hip, or hand up towards the ceiling. And then slowly lowering down to the mat. Coming back onto your hands and knees. Walking the hands forward about 3 inches. Curling the toes under, and we'll find our way to down dog. Spread the fingers wide, ground them down into the mat. And push back to your dog, making sure that your shoulders are wrapping away from your neck. Your neck is relaxed down, your hands are grounded into the mat. There might be a slight bend in your knee. It's hard. If you don't bend your knees, you're going to tend to kind of round in through your spine and lift your shoulders towards your ears, so that bend allows you to lengthen through your spine. The same rules apply here, bracing and engaging out versus drawing the belly button in. And we'll move into down dog hip extensions. So as you brace and engage, tapping the right foot back, you might lift it and lower. Inhale and exhale. Lift and lower. Last time, lift and lower, placing the right foot down. And moving to the left side. As you do this, there should be no arching through your spine. Only the leg is lifting or moving and lowering. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're going to step the right foot through the front hands. If you can't quite get there, some people get halfway and then I tell them to take their hand behind their thigh and help to step them forward. Step the back foot forward just a little as well, so there might be a slight bend in that back knee. Coming up into crescent warrior. So hands can be up towards the ears, unless you're like me where I tend to arch if I have my hands up, so I like to bring them to the W arms instead, or maybe hands on the hips. First, beginning by tucking that tailbone under or finding neutral spine. We tend to arch here, so tuck that tailbone under and let that back knee bend. Front knee is right over the ankle with the toes spread wide. They're not curling under. Hands wherever you're choosing today. Inhale, we'll straighten the leg. Exhale, we'll lower. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. I should have said this at the start of this exercise, but if you have knee issues and this is not a good move for you, that lunging movement, you might stay just in crescent, or you might stay with your legs straight. It is still working some muscles. From here, moving into warrior 3, shifting the weight onto the front leg, And then you might stay here. So you see from the toes to the crown of the head is one straight line. You're tucking the tailbone, you're engaging the core. If you can move further, you're going to reach forward or lift that back leg. Drop the hip so it's level and even with the left leg. Hands can be by your side. Or maybe if you need something to hold on to, like a chair or a table, you have that beside you to hold on to. Deep inhale. Exhale, lowers you down. We'll straighten both legs, turning to the center, turning your toes at about a 45-degree angle, moving into sumo squats or horse stance in yoga. Again, checking, am I in neutral spine? Doing a few of those pelvic tilts, placing a hand on the belly and on the back. Once you've found neutral, hands can come to the hips or maybe heart center. Deep inhale. As you exhale, lower, pulling your knees back towards the back of the mat. Inhale, straightens. Exhale, lowers. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Two more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Turning the right toes towards the front of the mat, lifting the left heel off of the mat, coming into crescent warrior on this side, tucking the tailbone just slightly, again finding that neutral spine. Front knee right over the front ankle, toes spread wide so they're not crunching under. Hands can be on the hips, W arms, or maybe all the way up overhead. Again, any knee issues, you'll stay here. If you're moving forward with us, inhale, lowers. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, exhale, last one, inhale, and exhale again, finding our warrior 3, hands can be by the sides, on the hips, weight shifts off the back leg onto the front leg, first starting with just the weight on the front leg and the toe touching the floor. This might be where you stay today for that balance, for that core stability. If you'd like to move further, you're lifting the left leg, hinging at the hips. So from the crown of the head to the toes is one straight line, dropping that left hip level and even with the right. And breathe. Deep inhale. Exhale, standing up nice and tall. We might take a forward bend here, but for those with back issues, we really want to keep neutral spine at all times. So what we want is to have a little bit of support here. And you might need taller blocks, you might need to stack a few blocks, but keeping those knees bent and being able to keep that nice neutral spine versus rounding over, but still getting that hamstring stretch. Let the neck relax and just breathe for a moment. With a flat back, engaging the core draws you all the way up to standing. Feet are about hips distance apart. Lift the toes, spread them wide, ground them down, and then engaging the arches of the feet, so not letting them collapse in, but opening them up while maintaining the pressure on the ball of the foot or that big toe mound. From there, quads engage. Slightly shift backwards, tuck the tailbone under just a little bit so you find that neutral spine again. Hands can be by the sides, eyes can close for just a moment. Returning to that abdominal breathing. Lift the shoulders up towards the ears. and relax them down and away from your neck. And then opening those eyes again. Moving into Utkatasana, spread the toes wide, ground them down into the mat. So the balls of the feet are pushing down, but the arches are engaging. Hands can reach out in front of you, or maybe hands to hips or heart center. Taking a deep inhale. As you exhale, sit back, chair, Utkatasana. And first placing hands on the belly and the back to make sure you're not overarching or over tucking. You're somewhere in between that nice neutral spine. You should be able to see your toes, so your knees aren't coming past your toes, and knees are about hips distance apart. Shoulders are relaxed down. Deep inhale. Exhale, standing tall. Inhale, as you exhale, sit back, chair, Utkatasana for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, standing tall. That concludes our yoga for core stability.